Hi fam, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Vuvu and this is a Vuvu Vena, formerly Vuvu Vena Reads. If you are new on here, please consider the subscribe button down below and joining the family. And if you are a returnee, a member of the fam, bam, welcome back fam, and thank you for joining me once again. On today's video, we are doing a wrap-up of my July reads. I read 9 books in July. If you're interested on my thoughts on those books, please do stay tuned.
So Vena _ reads is an amazing book reviewer, also YouTuber. She reviews books on YouTube, and if I'm not mistaken, she also has a blog as well. So please, if for your connection with literature, get in touch with or follow at VUVUVENA _ reads. She is based in South Africa, and I think it is also extremely important to follow literary content creators who are based outside of the West and in continental Africa, because they do a really good job of bridging the gap.
We appreciate you, Vuvu, for bringing us Turning Pages and for bringing us your BookTube channel.
You know, this is a chance for people to actually see some people that I really enjoy.
Please consider pressing the red subscribe button down below, and if you're a returnee, welcome back fam.
Vuvu, you're amazing. Thank you so much for your time.
So in July, I reread the first 2 books in the Legacy of Orisha, which is Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi and Children of Virtue and Vengeance by Tomi Adeyemi, in preparation for her 3rd book that just came out. I absolutely enjoyed this. I'm gonna try put my videos where I talked about both of these books previously before in the comment section, as well as in the description, as well as any reviews I've done on these anywhere else. I'll put them there for you. But just for context, this one I gave 5-star again, and I gave this one a 4-star. So these 2 need no introduction. I've talked about them before on the channel. The next book I picked up in July was A Soft Landing by Wusani Mushwana, which is a South African author. Yes, I think this is his debut. This book was sent to me by NB Publishers for review purposes, and this one was a very intricate, interesting story where we navigate the life of a queer boy who seems like he grew up in like a small township in Limpopo, and how he discovered his sexuality and how in later life he grapples with his sexuality after grief, after trauma, after abuse, and who he becomes in search of himself in the city of Cape Town. It is a very well written book. It's got some shocking moments in here, and it does tackle quite a few topics at the same time. I ended up giving this one a 3.75 stars. I then listened to the audiobook for The Adventures of Tom Sawyer because I was preparing to read James by Percival Everett. So I started off with Mark Twain's The Adventures of Tom Sawyer to get a sense of Huckleberry Finn, so that I can read Huckleberry Finn to find James. I hope that makes sense. So I listened to the audiobook for The Adventures of Tom Sawyer via Everand because I do not possess a physical copy. It was quite a charming, you know how these old stories are, right? It was quite a charming book. Obviously the nature of the story is not exactly charming, even though Tom Sawyer did remind me of historical Dennis the Menace, if you hear what I'm trying to say. He is very, very, very mischievous, always up to no good. This is definitely set during the slave times in America, so there's a lot of context that you need to understand as you go into these books, but it was quite enjoyable. I loved how he was always causing trouble, and how he befriended the least in his community because he could, and because that's who he was, didn't look down on anyone. And the fun that he actually ends up having with Huckleberry Finn on this particular story. I ended up giving Tom Sawyer a 3.5 stars, and then I picked up the Adventures of Huckleberry Finn or Huckleberry Finn by Mark Twain. So I had the physical copy of this one. It's an oldie, it's an old classic. I think this is the Collins, well, it says it's the Lauren Gold paperbacks. I'm sure you guys have seen these in stores. Funny enough, I thought the writing would be too small for me, but it was readable, interestingly enough. And anyway, sorry. While Tom Sawyer is told from the perspective of Tom Sawyer, whether it's exaggerated, it's peppered with lies or extravagances that were not there, we'll never know because Tom Sawyer is the person that he is. This one is told from the vantage point of Huckleberry Finn, and Huckleberry Finn is a little bit more modest than Tom Sawyer, has a bit more of a modest background. And in this one we basically follow Huckleberry Finn and the runaway slave that he's chosen to assist. And also obviously this is during the slavery times, and so there are a lot of racial nuances on here. Oh, okay, let's try talking again. There are a lot of racial nuances on here, and there's a lot, I think, that Mark Twain does to try and help us understand that basically racism is a human construct, because the friendship that is sparked between Huckleberry Finn and the runaway slave is actually quite a wonder to watch, and how people treat people according to status, according to their names, according to power, and according to their race. This is very well navigated in this one. I ended up giving The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn at 3.5 stars as well. The next book that I read in the month of July is Children of Anguish and Anarchy, which is the last book in the Orisha series, or yeah, Legacy of Orisha, sorry, series. So this is book 3, and as far as I understand, this is the final book. I buddy read this one with a couple of other book lovers, and I don't want to lie, I was disappointed in this one. I really wanted it to go a different direction, to which it went in to, does that make a different direction? And instead, what Tommy does in this one is that she introduces so many new characters, a new plot altogether, doesn't quite resolve the old plot, leaves us asking about some of the characters that were in the previous story. Like, a lot happens, and I really wasn't happy because I felt like it didn't wrap up the story that we fell in love with. Instead, it started a brand new story, and therefore we had to now find ourselves in a brand new land, following brand new characters, whereas the book is ending. I don't know if you hear what I mean. I feel like, if anything, I would have appreciated this being a novella, and then the final book to come out, which would include these characters in here as well as the characters that we know from the previous books. Unfortunately, that's not how it went down, but a girl could only wish. Anyway, I ended up giving Children of Anguish and Anarchy at 3.5 stars, and even that 3.5 was a little bit generous on my side because I was highly disappointed. But the writing was spectacular. The new characters that she gave us were interesting enough to keep you reading. It's just that I didn't feel like it was the ending of a series. That's just me. The next book I picked up in the month of July is A Conjuring of Lights by V.E. Schwab, which is the last book in the Shadows of Magic series. In this one, we basically follow the main character. Sorry, it was a while back. I'm trying to remember the names. Cal and his gang and Lila, to try and restore order in their specific kingdom, as it has been ravished. In the previous book, it was ravished by an ancient magical creature who feels like he is the god of all, and he came out of resting for millennia, I almost want to say, to find this brand new world, and him wanting nothing more than to possess this world, and Cal and Lila basically once again step up in trying to fix the world again for the king, for the prince, for their loved ones. And a lot of heartbreak happens in this one. A lot of stuff is wrapped up as well, and as per always, V.E. Schwab's writing is spectacular. Even though I feel like The Shades of Magic is not my favorite series from her, I still enjoyed the writing, I still enjoyed the story and its complexity. I ended up giving A Conjuring of Light 3.75 stars. Sorry, did I mention? I didn't mention, right? Sorry, I didn't mention. Children of Anguish and Anarchy was sent to me by Pan Macmillan Publishers for review purposes, and A Conjuring of Light was sent to me by okay, A Conjuring of Light was sent to me by Wordsworth Books for review purposes. And then the last book that I picked up in the month of July was The Prophet by Robert Jones Jr. And this one was sent to me by this one was sent to me by Jonathan Ball Publishers, and it is a debut novel. As per always, I am a huge sucker for debuts, okay? I absolutely loved the story. So this story is also set on a plantation, but the story is set on a plantation during slavery time, and we follow two young men who have sparked a romance between them during this time, one that they are growing to understand, but one that the community might not yet grasp. And this is a very Christian time, obviously, as well, and a lot of judgment is put on such things. We follow these men from the perspective of the other workers on the plantation, as well as the slave masters on the plantation, and we get perspectives from most of these people on how they react to this love between these two. Even though it's not just about this couple, they are the main ingredient in the story. Parts of the story will focus on the women during this time and the abuses that they had to go through, as well as the men and the abuses that they went through, and how people kind of sold their souls in order to be pleasing to their masters and things of that nature, and how when a person or a people have had enough, they've had enough, and how that plays out, how they end up rescuing themselves. And there's a lot of gems in this one. I feel like Robert's writing is very reminiscent of Toni Morrison's writing, and I accompanied this one with an audio from Audible, and the narrator was spectacular. It transports you into this world and this time so very well, and I think that this is exceptionally done. Character development, the writing on the actual pages, the prose as you listen and as you read it, and just the themes that are grappled with are phenomenal. I ended up giving The Prophets by Robert Jones Jr. a 5 stars. And that brings me to the end of the 9 books that I read in the month of July. I hope you enjoyed that quick wrap up. If you've read any of these, please do let me know in the comment section. And if you've made it this far, please drop me a comment with a blue heart to symbolize the last book cover that we spoke about. And also, if you have not read any of these books but some of them are in your radar, please do let me know. I'd love to hear which books you'd like to pick up soon from this pile. Until next time, I truly do love you guys for choosing me. Bye now.